British grammar, but American pronunciation. Because in British English they don't pronounce R.
Right. Like instead of saying better, they'll say
Mm,
better.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yes, that's yeah. So that's my question to you
I am
is
following American one.
okay. So you're leaning towards a North American pronunciation, and one of the things that when I interact with Indian students is tongue position because um, a lot of the sounds that come out of the language from the languages from India, I guess
Mm-hmm.
the one being Hindi is the tongue position, and a lot of the sounds that people from your region make, the tip of your tongue or the forward part of your tongue is going more towards the back of your hard palate. When you talk, the tip of your tongue is kind of back in your mouth, going up. Whereas in North American English, the tip of the tongue is more forward. So, like when you talk, like many Indian people talk like this, and the tip of my tongue is more in the back of my mouth, and that's why I can kind of get that sound of your region by moving my tongue back. So if you move your tongue more forward, that's one thing you can do. Now, it's important that
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense to you. Does that make some sense?
Yes, yes.
So, okay. So, one thing, moving the tongue forward. The other thing is looking at your individual pronunciation and, finding out where there's areas that you can change. Okay. So, why don't I ask you, do you know some areas of your pronunciation that are different that you want to change?
Actually, exactly. I don't know what I should do. Whenever some people say your pronunciation is good, some people say your pronunciation is average, and some people say your pronunciation is not good. So still, I'm really confused. What I should do? What do you think about my pronunciation? Is this understandable for you or not?
Yeah, making some notes for you. Um, it is understandable for me. Let me give you one big tip that will help a lot when you're speaking with English speakers, such as myself. Is you're very fluent with English, so that enables you to speak quickly. Um, so what I say to that is make sure you don't speak too fast because like I'll have students from your region, um, other countries around your region, and some speak so fast, and that's where the pronunciation,
Am I
changes.
speaking so fast?
Well, not at the moment. And when you were speaking earlier, it was okay. You weren't speaking as fast as some of my students speak from your area.
Mm,
So that's good. But I'm just cautioning you that when you speak to other people, to be aware of how fast you're speaking. Okay. That's
mhm.
the rate of your speech. That will help greatly because I would, in terms of pronunciation, you're in the middle, and I'm sure, like you said, you get different responses. Some people say it's good. Some people maybe
Mm,
say it's not so good. And that also you have to understand depends on, to whom you're speaking with. So
mhm.
some people are, better at understanding than others. But let me give you some specific pronunciation um, help in terms of the vowel sound. So let's look at some words like not, N-O-T, and I'll write these in the chat so we can see this, like not good. And
School.
yeah, school, that's a good one. You gave a phrase for you. I'm just putting a few in the chat there. Just make sure you got your chat open so you can see that. And Not, like you say, like not good. Okay, so those,
Not good school for you.
yeah. So what we want to say is like we want to change that not into ah sound. So we're changing the
Mm.
vowel sound to not. And when I'm speaking to you right now, when I make the vowel sound, I'm opening my mouth pretty big. I'm exaggerating, of course. That's how I teach. I encourage students to exaggerate, and I exaggerate because it gives a signal to your brain that you're doing something
Not good.
different. Not. Can you just,
Not good.
yeah, try to, can you stretch it longer and say not?
Not not good.
Okay, don't worry about,
School for you.
okay, well, hold on. Just say one word right now. So don't worry about the whole thing. Just say not.
Okay. Not.
There you go. That's a little better. So the important thing for a language learner to know is to be able to feel the difference between the way you said it before and the way you're saying it now. So
Mhm.
when you say not, it should feel a little strange. It should feel different because you're used to saying not. And I want you to stretch I want you to hold the sound longer. So you're going to say not. Try it again.
Not. Not.
Okay, that's better. Okay, now let's go to good. Okay, you say good.
Good.
I want you to say good. It's a sound.
Good.
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 There you are. That's
Good.
right. And we'll
Mhm.
stretch it a little longer. Okay. So not good.
Not good.
See? Now, are you feeling some difference there? Because I certainly am hearing a difference.
Mhm. Yes, I'm
Okay.
feeling some
Good.
difference
It's
in my pronunciation.
excellent. Now, that's important. Tell yourself
Mhm.
and tell your brain, oh, I feel the difference. You know,
I feel the difference.
I'm noticing a difference. And
Mhm.
then your brain starts to recognize, okay, we're doing something different, because our brains get very comfortable speaking one way. Our brains don't like to change. But if we keep reminding our brains, and we do some exaggeration, we kind of have fun with it, we laugh about it, our brains remember it much better. Okay. Let's go on to this next part, like school. Try that. School.
School.
Okay. Try to stretch the vowel sound longer, like I'm doing.
School.
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 Okay. And you're kind of doing something.
Um,
Yeah, Rodrigo.
Dave,
Yeah.
could I interrupt?
Yes, please do.
Okay. I don't know if with this explanation could help this friend of ours.
Go
There
ahead.
is
Sure.
in this class with us. Okay. I watched a video on YouTube from a teacher, a woman who lives in the USA.
Okay.
And she's a teacher and maybe a director from an English school.
Okay.
And what is interesting is because, for example, I have a dictionary that teaches me phonetics.
Okay.
But what is interesting is because even using that phonetics, okay, you ended up getting a good pronunciation, but not enough. For example, there is the verb boil, right?
The verb what?
Boil.
Boil. Can you write it in the chat to make sure I got it?
Boil.
Yeah.
Boil.
Like boil, B-O-I-L.
Okay. This is what you do to warm water.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's what I thought you said. I just wanted to make sure. Okay, boil. Right.
Okay.
Boil.
In my phonetic dictionary, there is just two vowels for you to pronounce that, like boil. But according to her explanation, you also have to add an extra vowel, like maybe a schwa sound. Instead of saying boil, you should add one more vowel, like boil.
That's interesting.
So maybe the word school is happens the same thing. Maybe according to what I hear from you, maybe it's not school, but school.
School.
Not just oo, but ool.
School.
Oh yeah. Well, what you're talking about is
School.
like a mixture of sounds, of the O sound and the L sound. Let me see. I'm trying to look up. Hold on. I want to. Interesting. It doesn't spell. Oh, there's boil. Yeah. Well, the thing is, let me just quickly get back to the first word, the boil word that you were talking about. Saying that, like, if you look it up phonetically, you might be missing a vowel. Now, that's
because
go ahead.
when it's interesting,
Mhm.
it's because in phonetics,
Mhm.
you just can see just two vowels, like
Right.
like oil, oil. But according to that's way. So, but according to her explanation, a native speaker like you and and other ones who have the English language as a first language, so they usually add one more vowel. See, like maybe a schwa sound after that oil, oil. Instead of saying oil, oil. Don't boil.
Well,
Actually, everybody has different sound and accent. So I have so many people from America as well as England. They pronounce word differently.
yes.
Quite differently.
Yes, that's true, Shizan. That's true. And it's important to recognize that. What I do want to get through here is, okay, so if you, just like in England, in America, if you talk with people from different regions, they will speak with some different accents. Okay, now there's that. Now there's also, if we come to the linguistic world, the study of linguistics and the study of language learning, and more specifically, the study of teaching English to speakers of other languages. If we get into that realm, okay, and we're talking about using, now there are many different dictionaries, right? They're like Shizan, I think you mentioned the Oxford. And
Oxford.
Right. And there's many different dictionaries. Now, most of the time when linguistic instructors, people who have studied linguistics and who have studied teaching English to speakers of other languages, especially at the master's degree level, they largely refer to the International Phonetic Alphabet. Okay, so that is a bit different than some of these other dictionaries. Now, when let me just put this in again, boil. Now, so Rodrigo, if I look at this phonetic, now for everyone watching, I just put in the IPA, or International Phonetic Alphabet, spelling of boil. Okay, so we have, boy, there's an oi and then there's an ul. Now that L.
Actually, there are some syllables, boil, oyster, this type of sound.
Yeah.
Which make our tongue to make or to pronounce those words.
Well, yeah, and that's what this phonetics is saying. So if you look at this phonetically, the way to say this phonetically is boil. Okay, now ul, we're getting into maybe a very fine area, and this may be what that teacher Rodrigo was referring to. When I say like for explaining it, the L sound. Oh, and right now my tongue is behind my two front teeth and I'm saying, oh. In order for me to make that sound big, I do hit it with a bit of a vowel sound. Otherwise, I think it would be just like, uh, uh, it would be shorter. So oftentimes, if we're explaining a consonant sound, sometimes we do include a little bit of a vowel sound with it. But what I want to point out is that the phonetic that you see there, International Phonetic Alphabet for boil, is pronounced boil.
Mm-hmm.
There is really no added sound.
One more
there.
thing I wanna ask you: if we read newspaper on regular basis, will it help to us for improving our pronunciation?
If we use the newspaper for what?
I mean, if we read newspaper, not use. If we read
Yeah,
newspaper on regular basis.
Okay, well, it depends on your level, Shizan, because a lot of students do ask, and a lot of students, I've had students from all over the world, and sometimes they go to the newspaper, and the newspaper can have a lot of high vocabulary words, and it could be very difficult for some students to comprehend, to understand. So what I say is, and then they give up, Shizan, and that's what I don't want to happen with students, because then they find the newspapers too difficult. So
no, actually, if we read some, easy article like moral stories and children's stories,
sure,
these stories are mentioned in or described in very easy word. What do you
okay,
think? If we read
yes,
these things, will it
yes,
help us to improve our pronunciation?
Well, pronunciation, not so much, because this is reading. For you to affect your pronunciation, you have to speak, okay, and you have to listen, and you have to listen to native pronunciation, or in your case, you're looking at North American pronunciation, so you have to listen to North American pronunciation, and then you have to produce. Production is the most, for most people, is the most difficult part, because we can understand usually much easier than we can produce it in our mouths. Because look, Shizan, it's like your mouth is a musical instrument, and you have to change the way you use your mouth in order to tune it to a different song. And the different song is North American English. Right now you're speaking what I could call Indian English, because you have an Indian accent, okay? And you want to speak more like the North American. So you have to tune yourself. Now, what does that include? That includes your tongue position will change. That includes your lips will change, your mouth, your jaw in certain cases. In North American English, we tend to move our mouths more, where maybe in English, I'm going to do kind of an Indian accent right now. Like if I'm talking more like from India, my mouth does not move the same way, not as much, and my tongue is more in the back of my mouth. So now I'm speaking in North American English. I'm bringing the sound forward more in my mouth. My tongue is more forward. My lips are moving and they're curving more. Okay. So it's a matter of tuning your instrument, just like I tuned my instrument to go to Indian English, because I'm talking more with my throat and my tongue is more in the back, and I resonate my sound more in my throat. But when I speak in North American English, I resonate my sound in the front of my mouth. Okay, so I can tune my instrument, and that's what I want you to do, is work on thinking about your mouth position, because that's.
I think we should pronounce word properly. Actually, we Indian people pronounce less. Actually, while I was my in English institute, I learned that thing, that we Indian people produces 45 words in a minute, and native speaker produces 30 to 35 words. So and sometimes we speak too fast, and that thing make us or make our pronunciation worst.
Yes.
So we should try to speak little bit slow. I mean, we should try to reduce down the rate of speech. It would be much better for us.
Absolutely. And that's what we discussed earlier is slow down. Notice I'm not speaking very fast. My rate of speech is slower. And if you slow down, yes, that will help. But on some of these words, like we were working on, like for, not getting that ah sound in there. And like, here's one last phrase, and that's for you. Just type in there, and for has that nice strong American R. So we want to say for, like or with an F. For. Yeah. Now, one thing a lot of Indian folks do, including you, is you're rolling your R. You're saying like for, and we don't roll the R. Notice my R. For. There you go. Now that, Shizan, is a very good North American R. So you can do it. You just have to get comfortable with it. Okay. So you got to practice it. There you go. For you. Try.
For you.
Yeah. Now when you mix it, don't roll your R. For you. Try it again.
For you.
Yeah. So work on making that R sharp. That's something that's going to help you, because when you roll into two words, your R starts to roll.
I think we have been talking more than 20 minutes. So where am I lacking? What do you think? Where am I lacking in terms of pronunciation?
The vowel sounds, just like we've been talking about. And, your mouth movement. Those are two strong areas. Move your mouth to the front. Move your tongue and resonate your sound to the front of your mouth. Okay. And that will help. And let me get back to what Rodrigo was saying. I just wanted to finish that. And that is, when there's a consonant, like for me to explain to somebody like L, I was saying, yeah, L, there's more of a vowel sound added to that to make that sound. Yeah. Otherwise it's just like, ooh. And, but boy, oh, that if we combine that phonetic of I and L, that is the sound. So in school, the only thing, Rodrigo was talking about school, we want to make sure, Shizan, you don't say S school, because it's not S school. We just start with the S sound. We say
school.
Yeah, there you go. School. And we don't roll that L, just school. School just stops on L. But this discussion has come up before, and yeah, sometimes we do color some of these words with a little bit of a vowel sound, like perhaps a schwa. Those could also be argued as those sounds are covered in the phonetics. In terms of standard American pronunciation, this is the way you do it. It also gets, the other thing, Rodrigo, is it gets a lot of students, they don't take a scientific approach to pronunciation. And oftentimes, if we study, for example, the International Phonetic Alphabet, and then we try to translate what we see directly into speech, a lot of students get discouraged because maybe they feel it's too scientific or too difficult to memorize all the sounds of the International Phonetic Alphabet. I remember when I used to teach some college classes, and I would ask my class to memorize the International Phonetic Alphabet. They weren't always so excited about doing that, and there are good parts to it, if you can do it, but the thing is, you don't want to discourage students. And some students go for it. If you really want to nail down your pronunciation and you're willing to put in the work and you're not going to be discouraged, sure, memorize the International Phonetic Alphabet. And then whenever you want to know how to pronounce a sound, the answer is there, because you can, a sound, I should say, whenever you want to pronounce a word, you can look up the word in an International Phonetic Dictionary online. There's plenty of them online. You don't need to even buy one. And you can, if you are pronouncing them correctly, you will be able to pronounce it the way it's spelt in that dictionary. Will native speakers pronounce it exactly the same way? There might be some variation in some words, but for the most part, you're going to be hitting it, straight on.
Actually, sometime a native speaker pronounce different way. If you talk with black people, black from America, their pronunciation is totally different from white people. They speak so fast.
Yeah, and they can speak differently. And this goes into my comment about there are people who speak differently in America, and black Americans or African Americans. There's a linguistic term for it, and that is Ebonics, and that can be very difficult.
It is really difficult for me to understand them.
Yes,
just because of their fast pronunciation, fast speech.
Right, and sometimes Americans who are born here have a hard time understanding them. So you're not the only one, Shazan. And whenever you have a hard time understanding somebody, no matter who it is, just politely ask them to say that again, that you did not understand. And sometimes,
have you ever faced problem with any native speaker while you were discussing with him anything?
Sure.
Have you ever faced?
Absolutely.
But how did you face? You are a native speaker. You can better understand to anybody.
Yeah, we're a native speaker, but I grew up, and my background is in standard American pronunciation. And when I say standard, that would match close to the way a news broadcaster would speak on television news. Mm-hmm. Okay. But Ebonics has different influences, like from the South. And if I went to the South, it's not just Black Americans, it's other Americans from the South have a strong accent, and I would have a hard time understanding them. And that, that's
in which state? From which state? California.
From which state? Oh, like Tennessee, in the deep South, Georgia. Hey, they talk like this. How you doing there, Dave? Hey, good to talk to you. I'm gonna run uptown, have some breakfast, gonna get some coffee there, and then we're gonna get on the hog and take out for the afternoon there. Y'all see what I'm saying, y'all? And that could be very confusing to me and other Americans. So, yes.
That is really difficult to understand.
But I'm telling you this because I don't want you to feel bad if you speak to somebody who has a strong accent, because native speakers have a hard time understanding them. So you're just like me. You might have a more difficult time because you're from India, but we have a difficult time too. And we just politely ask them, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. Could you say that one more time? Maybe a little bit slower, please. And then they'll key in and say, I'm not from the South. I'm sorry. I love your accent. You always make them feel good. You always be polite to them. Oh, I love your accent, but I just have a little difficult time understanding you. Can you please repeat that? And usually they're very nice about it. Okay. And
yes, it is difficult to deal with them. Even North, England people who live North side, they speak so fast. They mix the sound. They mix the sentences.
Oh yeah.
They mixed, sound. They mix words. it is really difficult for me to talk with them. I have one friend from England. His name is Tom. He speaks with so many people. He likes to talk with around the people. But thing is that his sound, I mean, accent is really strong, really difficult to understand for me. I have been talking with him for last 1 year. Okay, not on regular basis, let's say monthly or weekly, but I have problem with him. It is really difficult for me to understand him.
Right, right. No, that makes a lot of sense. And all I say to you about that is, don't be discouraged. That is more of a challenge, and
Mm.
I believe you can understand me quite well. And
No, of course, you are speaking like a BBC reporter or Al Jazeera reporter. You
right.
speak so good.
Thank you. Okay, yeah. So you have some challenges with some people, but just don't let that bother you. Just keep trying, and you'll get better and better. And if you don't understand something, just say, hey, I'm trying, and I'm going to keep trying and keep getting better. So we all face those challenges, and that's part of the world we live in. We live in a challenging world, and we just got to face up to the challenges and keep trying. And then Shizan, you're going to get to the point where you will be able
Yes, yes, I'm
to
getting, of
understand much
course.
better.
Hmm.
Okay, so yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, I want to say hello to Julio and Bizo and Edson.
Hey, Jay.
Hey, Julio, how are you?
Hey,
I'm
how are you?
fine.
What's up?
There we go. And there's Edson, and there's Bizo. Hey.
Yes, long time.
Yeah, long time no talk,
Yeah.
Bizo. Good to hear your voice, and I'm glad you could be here today. The show was like off, in the summertime was off for a while, and then I did some shows, and then I was off for a number of shows, and now I'm back. So we got to try to get the group back together again.
Yeah, so we're on
That
vacation,
seems so
right?
nice.
Yeah. It was, like here in the West, it's like the holiday time for Christmas and New Year's and all that sort of thing. So, and Thanksgiving too. In America, we had Thanksgiving and all that. So
I
that's
see.
that's our holiday.
And how
time.
was your period of vacation? How was your vacation?
Oh,
I mean,
it was good.
Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I mean, it's funny because, like the holidays are supposed to be like a fun time, happy time, but they can also be very stressful because, you have to prepare certain meals and get together with people, and it can be just a lot of work and everything. And, the Christmas tradition is to exchange gifts, and if you have like a lot of family and stuff, you have to go shopping and buy people gifts, and then you have to wrap the gifts. And if you're working full time, it can be very difficult to have the time to do all that. So it's funny, I was talking to a lot of Americans, and I would say to them, oh, how was your holiday? And a lot of them would say, oh, it was so stressful, I'm glad it's over.
Oh,
I can relate to that.
Can you relate, Julio?
Yeah, I'm so glad all these holidays are over.
I kind of feel the same way.
I don't want to know anything about more Christmas food again. Like in 4 years.
Oh, I know. Well, see, that's the other thing, everybody, is that like there's like Christmas food, and like sometimes, the food can be kind of unhealthy, like a lot of sweets, and
yeah.
maybe a lot of fattening foods, and then you tend to eat too much of unhealthy food, and then you don't feel so good, and it's like, oh man,
The problem about that kind of food is the heartburn.
yeah, heartburn and other things can cause your body.
Yeah, diarrhea.
Could cause diarrhea, gas. I mean, let's just say it like it is, gas, bloating. You could feel like, you don't feel so great because you eat all this kind of, unhealthy
food.
stuff, junky food. You know, it's supposed to be fun because people make I don't know, they'll make sweets and they'll make like pies and cakes and all this stuff, and and cookies, you know, and you eat this stuff, and then it's like, you know, too much like, I don't know, candy and stuff. And then even like some of like the Italian food that I make is not so healthy, you know, like I mean, Italian food, maybe some people like it, but you know, it's not the healthiest stuff in the world. It's kind of a heavy food. Like after you eat a lot of Italian food, it's very heavy, you know, and you feel kind of like you want to go to sleep or something. So.
Or maybe you ended up getting the run.
Getting the runs. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, the runs.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You were very close, Rodrigo. It just needed the plural, getting the runs, which means, let me be frank, it means diarrhea.
Sometimes you don't run enough,
Yeah,
fast
oh, God.
enough.
Yeah, you can't run fast enough to get to the bathroom.
Yeah, maybe just with the help of a cork, huh?
The help of a what?
Of a cork.
Of a cork? Oh my God. Well, I've never tried that method, but thank you for sharing that with us. Oh my God. That's so funny. But yeah.
Rodrigo.
And what's that, Julio?
I say, what's wrong with Rodrigo?
Rodrigo he's trying to use the English he's learned. So it sounds like he's learned some very graphic English.
Very graphic today.
Sometimes, who's that? I get, there's a guy from Colombia, Jesus from Colombia, and he's pretty good with English, and he's always trying to use idiomatic phrases on the call, you know, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't work so well. And I'm like, oh, very good idiom there. Okay.
You know, Dave, sorry.
Yeah.
I tried to add a friend of mine, Mike X10X.
Oh, yeah. I
Like
just saw him. He came in and then he's gone. What happened?
I don't know.
'Cause
He was there, but he's telling me that he can't hear us.
Oh, he should be able to hear. What's his, can you type in his Skype name in the chat? And then I'll try
Sure.
to find him and add him.
Sure.
Is that
Yeah.
Miguel?
Miguel.
Oh, because he's in the chat. I see him right now. Let me see. Add to contacts. Okay. And how come he's not? Let me see. Miguel Martinez. Oh, there he is. Okay, let me try. Oh, that's weird. Oh, he's offline. You got to tell him he's got to put his status to green because he's like invisible or something. You know how my status is green, and let's see, Julio.
Yeah, no, well, he's visible here with me.
Oh wait, now he's green. There he goes.
Okay.
Now I got him.
Yeah.
Maybe because we weren't contacts. I'm not sure. Skype is always changing
maybe.
things. Yeah.
Maybe Skype is always changing. It's true.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, he's
I got
there
it.
now.
Yeah, I got him. Hey, Miguel.
Hey, my name is Miguel. I am from Nicaragua, and I don't know. Thank you for the chance for having me here.
Sure. Yeah. Where are you from?
Nicaragua.
Nicaragua. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
that is in Central America.
Yes. Very good. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Glad you could join.
I'm sorry because of my look, but I was asleep.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's okay. I'm glad you could join us now.
Thank you.
What we were talking about, was like the Christmas thing. So like, Julio, did you have to get together with family and exchange gifts and do all that? And,
Oh, yes. We usually do that on the 24th.
the 24th.
Yeah, that night around 12 o'clock, we all meet in front of the Christmas tree, and then we unwrap gifts.
I see. So
Yeah,
that means before that you have to go shopping, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, go shopping and spends a lot of money.
Spend a lot of money, right?
Yeah, because all prices go up for Christmas.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
increase all the prices. Everything is double the price. And you know what? And the excuse is, it's Christmas.
Right. People say,
that is-
"Oh, it's Christmas. Just spend money."
Yeah, Merry Christmas, but you have to pay double the price.
Well, you know, if we were all very smart, we would buy our Christmas presents at a different time of the year and just keep them. And then when it's Christmas time, all we have to do is wrap them and give them
Yeah,
out.
we are doing that a long time ago. But there's always a last minute.
Yeah, there's
Big
always last
buy.
minute. I know. You're right.
Yeah, there's always a last minute. And then you can buy food.
Oh,
all
right. You
year.
can't buy food in advance.
No, you have to buy, according to what you need and what you want to prepare.
Right.
And it's like since November, all the prices start to go up gradually.
Right. Right. Yes, indeed. Yes. Merry Christmas.
That's why I say, well, I'd be glad if Christmas could be like the Olympic Games or the World Cup every 4 years.
Oh, there you go. Every 4 years would be nice. There, I could deal with that. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
I
good
could do with
suggestion.
that too.
That's a good. I've never heard that suggestion, but I like it, Julio. I'm one of your supporters.
Well, we are here, to share ideas.
Absolutely, and that's a great idea. I've never heard that
I like-
idea before. I love it.
The last time we talked, you said something that I like very much. It's about to avoid wars. People should marry foreigners.
Yes,
That's what
right.
you said, and I support that.
Yes, I think if we all mixed more, then like if I married somebody, from a country far away, like
From Iran, for
like
example.
Iran, right? Okay, so that means now I have part of my family is my wife's family, and they're all Iranian. So then I get to know them. I get to know them as people. Of course, my wife, I care for her, and hopefully I love her, and I know she's obviously from a country far away, Iran, and then I want to be very good to those people, and then I notice the differences in culture, maybe the differences in thinking, and then I become more open-minded. So that's the idea. And then, everybody be aware of your background noise. I'm getting some background noise. It might be Miguel. I'm not sure, but if you can just mute your microphone. If you look at the bottom of the Skype screen under everybody's name and picture, that if you hover your cursor, you'll see a little blue picture of a microphone. There you go. Thank you. Much better. And yeah, so Edson, how are you doing? Haven't spoken to you in a while.
Well, yeah, I've been fine. I have practiced my English skills watching some movies, and I started to watch it without subtitle.
Cool.
It's a really challenge to me. But one interesting thing which happened to me a couple days ago, I was watching. It was difficult in the beginning, but as much as I was watching this movie, I feel like I was able to understand them as though they were speaking my own language.
Oh, really?
In the beginning, it was difficult, but
Okay.
it became easier when I kept watching it.
That's good. That's interesting. So what it sounds like what you're describing is kind of a warm-up period, and the beginning of the movie was not so understandable, and then you warmed up to it, almost like your ear started tuning into it a little better and a little better as time went on.
Yes, yeah, that's you know, it was a nice experience when I felt it. I thought, oh my goodness. And of course, I have already watched some English movies, but it was Frozen, as I told you
All
before, you
right,
know.
Frozen. Yeah.
It's easy to understand because they speak in a way too slow, because it's some child movies, you know, it's a
Right.
child movie indicates a child,
Yes.
so they speak in a slower. But the movie I watched a couple weeks ago, it was, you know, and, moving to indicated to all sort of age, you know. I mean,
Okay.
young
Good. Good.
and adult.
Yeah, I see. So they spoke faster, and you were able
Yeah.
to understand it quite well.
Yes, yes. I felt so. Oh, that's so cool. You know, it's working.
Yeah. Yeah.
All my stride.
Yeah, see, it's paying off. So you're doing well, man. That's really good. I'm so glad to hear that. And I really like the movie model too, because it it has a motivation factor. And in linguistics, we study this. You know, if the student has a strong interest, like if the movie, just like a book, is an area where you know, you're interested in the movie, you want to see the movie, it's entertainment, so you watch it and then you start picking up more and more, so you have a higher motivation factor, you're enjoying the process, and then you're starting to understand more and more. So I think that's great. That's cool.
And besides, you know, yeah, that's what I heard. We need to have fun while we are learning something, not just English, but everything we want to do, every different
Yes.
activity. You know, we must have fun while we are learning it, and this is a nice process to learn
Absolutely.
everything.
Absolutely. And there's research that supports that, Edson, that shows, you know, if you are enjoying the process, if you enjoy it, your brain can retain it much more. Whereas if you have a lot of negative feelings, like if you're always telling yourself, English is too difficult, it's too hard, I hate it, you know, it's going to be much harder to advance. But if you have a positive attitude, like, hey, this is fun, and you laugh a little while you're, you know, while you're doing it, and you have a positive attitude, your brain is more likely to retain the information. So yes. Very true. Very true. And then Mr. Bizo, how are you, sir? We haven't spoken in a while. How are things in Egypt? Are you there?
Yeah, everything's fine. Only I'm just following this news from Paris, which is a very horrifying and shocking.
Yes.
But besides that, everything is fine.
Okay, good. And you're doing well with
Yes,
your
I'm
studies?
doing fine.
Good, good. Yes. Well, actually, that is the topic of today, which got sidetracked because we were speaking about pronunciation earlier. But my question to the group today is it okay to have satire, to joke about other people, other religions, politics, you know? And I'm wondering what the opinion is about this, because what happened in Paris, very tragic, terrorist attack. 12 people were killed that first day, and over this satire magazine, where you know, people are, you know, it's a joke magazine. People are making fun of things. It's not a serious magazine where, you know, they're just making fun of things in the world, and they don't make fun of just one thing. They make fun of many things, you know. So if this was the big news of this week, and if you're paying attention to the news, you heard about this story. And just recently, like there was some confrontation, and apparently they killed 2 suspects, and maybe one is still on the run. or they killed 3. I'm not sure. Anyway.
Yes, out of 3.
Yeah.
They killed 3, 1 on the run.
And 1 on the run. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so so I'm wondering, you know, to give some folks a chance to speak on the call today, what your opinion is about it, especially, you know, it seems to be the crux of the issue is it okay to make fun? It's this is perhaps a you know, freedom of speech versus offending something. Now, I just want to point out that the magazine made fun of everything, not just one thing. So, you know, like if somebody made a joke about me, you know, or if somebody made a joke, let's say about you or your family, you know, and somebody was joking around, but maybe it was kind of offensive to you. I mean, how far do you take it, you know? So, well, what do you think about that, Bizo? What's your opinion?
My opinion is it's okay to joke, but we should have some limitations. We have to set some boundaries. We don't have to bring something which is offensive to others because it is joking, so you don't have to joke to insult or injure others. So that's my philosophy, is that it's okay for something which is permitted, but it's not okay to offend others.
Okay, but when you say it's permitted by whom?
I mean, when I say permit, something which is not outside of the sensitive issue. I guess something which is in common, which is not going to have some negative consequences. So it is up to someone to know who are you making the joke to. There's someone who are easily touched. There are some others who they don't care if you joke, but others, they care.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to know the person. You need to know the culture of the person you are making joke.
Okay, gotcha. And let me just give you a little pronunciation tips here. Boundaries. When you say boundaries, we want that ow in there. Boundaries. Yeah, good. And person, we just want that sharper R for the North American pronunciation. Person. There you go. Very nice. Yeah. Okay. Anybody want to comment on what Bizo just said? He said, yeah, go ahead.
No, well, you know, I don't find anything offensive if people make mock of myself or my religion.
Okay.
If I'm sure about my beliefs, nobody can sidetrack me of it. Nobody can say something different. And then if we are talking about somebody who's supposed to be powerful, divine, you know,
okay.
So that being by himself or by themselves, they can take care of them.
They can take care of themselves. So
themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't need anybody to defend them. They don't need anybody to protect them, because those are powerful people or powerful beings.
Right.
So to me, it's preposterous. It's absurd to go and kill others because they're mocking at my God, for example, or the Pope, or my parents, or whatever. To me, it's absurd completely.
I see. Yeah. So, any responses to that? Anybody want to comment?
Yes, I could comment about it.
Okay, Edson.
Well, I think newspaper overdid in their comment or in their post, of course. But there is another solution to solve it nowadays, at least. They could, Muslim could take them to the court, go to the police department and take them all to the court. Of course, they would need to respond for that, and perhaps they need to pay some money to some institution or do something, or ask to forgive them for what they did, and I think they would change. I think it would be better than kill them all or kill the journalist, because it will create, it will awake a prejudice against Muslim people. I think it will create a prejudice against them among people from Occident. I'm not saying everybody, but some people will create it. I have already heard, or I have already seen some posts on the internet where they say, "Oh, Muslim people are not ready to live among people from Occident," or something like that. So I think it was a mistake they make. It could be fixed. Just stop doing that and move on.
Mhm.
And perhaps because it has already done. It happened, of course.
Okay,
The-
right. So what, like, you're kind of bringing in, Edson, an idea of like a legal ramification. So like
Yeah.
going to court, or they could be fined, like there could be fees involved, something like this.
Yeah.
It's interesting because we're kind of getting different ideas to this topic, which makes it dynamic. Like Bizo is saying that it's okay to joke about other people, but you have to also be sensitive. So it seemed like Bizo saying there's a place where you draw a line, so you don't cross that line where it gets too sensitive. And then Julio is saying something like you can make fun of anything, and or other people can make fun of anything, and that's okay, because if we're talking about God or a religious figure, whether it be Muhammad or Jesus, those entities can defend themselves. They don't need us humans to defend them, and to do
Yes.
something like killing or something like that. They can defend themselves. So it's kind of like maybe the idea like, hey, if I do something really against God, God will punish me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll leave it up
that's
to.
what I believe as well, actually.
Okay.
I think
Yeah,
some legal
God doesn't need
situation can be
helpers.
taken, but
Oh, wait, one at a time. Julio, go first, and then Edson.
I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry. Say God doesn't need helpers. He can defend himself. He's powerful enough. If you really believe in God, God created the whole world, He created the universe. So, do you think God will get angry at caricature, or if somebody's mocking at him? No, that's only an excuse to kill. That is all.
Well, yeah, that's a really good or interesting point, Julio, is that, if I draw like a cartoon that's kind of making fun of anything on this planet, is God, going to be offended? And if God is offended, he's supposed to be superhuman, like beyond our human power, all powerful. He or she or it can take care of itself much better than we can, because we're just human. We have we're very limited, and we're not nearly the stage of what we consider to be a god. Let's see. Rodrigo said it depends if there's respect from the other person. But when you're making, I guess when you're making a joke, it can be two things, like maybe I don't like somebody or something, and then I'm making a joke because I don't like them. There's also a type of joke I can make, like, like Julio's my friend and I just make a joke with him, but I respect Julio. You know, so maybe that's more on the lines of what Bizo was saying. Bizo, you were going to speak.
Yes. Going back to Edson, saying about the court, yes, that's a really good idea. But at some point, we don't have to treat people at the same level. Some people are more intellectual, like Edson just suggesting that, yes, you can go to court and just try to defend yourself. That's a really good idea. But some people don't have that idea. So it is very difficult to control them. We're talking here about something which is emotional things, or maybe not about right and wrong, but about the how much do you have to say to others? Do you have to joke and then you put yourself in danger? For example, yes, in his belief, the company or the journalists were just making joke, but see what happened. It is they put themselves in danger, even though we're not talking about right and wrong, but about danger things and a sensitive issue.
Right, right. And that this is interesting. I just want to say, Julio, I can't find that person. If you could ask that person to just send me a contact request, then I can probably add them quickly.
Okay, sure.
I heard I was watching a news program last night, Bizo, and they were debating this issue. And there was a religious figure on the show, and he was not Muslim. He was, I believe he was a Catholic figure. But he was saying exactly what you're saying. He was saying that, you know, these people should not be making fun of somebody else's religion because that's a sensitive topic. He said, if you want to make fun of me and just joke around with me, that's fine. But this is a more serious issue. This is a more sensitive area. And people, you know, some people view religion very, very strongly, and it's sacred. It's sacred. And if anybody does anything to defile that, you know, it is very bad. But let me ask you this, Bizo, is it right to get mad in this way?
No, it is very wrong, and it is not justified. No matter how, this is the most horrible, and it is massacre, which is no one can accept it, except the person who did it.
Right, right. And that's what it gets down to, because it's like the example I brought up earlier. If, let's say, somebody offended my family, you know, or me, you know, and said something terrible about, I don't know, my mother, and just said something really just graphic and just really strongly bad, does that give me the right to kill that person? And the answer is no. No. You know, I mean, do I like or am I okay with that? No, I don't like the fact. And it would probably develop, I would feel anger inside of myself. And my animal instinct would be to try to get back at that person. But it does not, it certainly does not give me the right to kill them. And hopefully, if I can be, this is my opinion, if I could be a balanced individual, I would seek, instead of anger at that person, I would seek maybe a dialogue with them, very calm dialogue, respectful dialogue, so I could maybe communicate that I'm offended by that, and maybe bridge a gap and maybe make a friendship with them, as opposed to having a war with that individual. You know, that's the thing. Yeah. That's the thing here, that you know, the violence at this level is not justified.
Yeah, that's
I want
right.
to stop. Yeah, I don't know if I.
Yeah, Miguel, go ahead. Sure.
Yeah, I'm not justifying, what they did, but I think that we are forgetting about our principles. And, my parents taught me that you have to respect other people. And I think that you should treat the people the way you would like to be treated. And if you're offending someone, then you are not going to expect them to treat you in a proper way. So I'm not justifying, but I'm just saying that we should respect other people so that we can, be better and to be in a proper way and to live, peacefully.
Right. I see. And one thing I want to point out, which I was thinking, and that's a good point, Miguel, and your English is quite good. And that is,
Thank you.
okay, this is something that is brought into the mix, and that is when we poke fun at other, let's just say, institutions. Now, institutions can mean political, it can mean religious, it can mean lots of things. But if we poke fun, if we make fun of these institutions, that can help to clear the air, or maybe change for the better some wrong things with these institutions. If we look at our planet Earth, and we're all, human beings on this planet, and we grow, we become better, we learn more. If we look at 1,000 years from now, human beings have progressed greatly. I think we can agree on that. And if we are at a learning point, and I think we're always at a learning point, that with our institutions on this planet, are they all perfect? No, they're not. So can we learn more and make them better? I think the answer is yes. So the point I'm making that this came up in this debate last night, is when we poke fun, when these satire, whether it's a magazine, a satire news, a blog on the internet, if we poke fun at certain things, oftentimes, I'm not saying it always does, and I'm not saying it's always justified, but sometimes it can make change for the better. And I'm wondering, what does the group think about that? Like, can I give an example? Like, for example, like in the Christian, I'm more familiar with the Christian religions, and in some Christian religions, like a minister or a priest can be married, but when you're Catholic, you cannot be married. So, like in the Catholic Church, it's debated about making a change so that priests can marry and have a wife and maybe have children. So like a lot of these, like a satire magazine could make fun of the Catholic religion and say something like, oh, all these Catholic priests, they're a lot of them are maybe gay men who are having sex with each other, or in the worst case, even having sex with children, which has happened and is really a bad thing, and they make fun of that. But that, by them bringing it out into the open in a free speech manner and making fun of the Catholic Church, maybe will make a change for the better in the Catholic Church.
Yeah, I think that it's a good point because of nobody realizes about the topic. So if there's this satire, is that well pronounced?
Yes, satire, right.
Satire, okay. So if this satire, brings up the subject, and then everyone around the world is going to realize about it. But if not, nobody's going to realize, and then the Catholic Church is going to keep on doing the same. So I think it's good, but not in the way, it's more like you have to make it like news or something like that, but not making fun of them.
I see. So yeah, what you're saying is you can joke around, but you got to draw a line so you're not going too far with your humor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, a lot of people feel that way, and I think that's what Bizo is saying as well, is that you have to draw a line, and you just don't cross that line. And some people go too far. So that seems to be what some of you are saying, is going too far. And the other thing I want to throw into this is just the idea of free speech. And in some countries, there's freedom of speech, and in some countries there's more censorship, and there's no freedom of speech, or there's not as much, I should say. So I think I know the answer if I ask this to some of you. You know, well, is freedom of speech important? Because freedom of speech is similar to this idea of joking about people to bring up important ideas. So how do we balance free speech with sensitivity to institutions? Anybody can jump in. Yeah, what do you think, Bizo?
Yes, free speech is something which is really good, and it helps because some people come up and say what they think is wrong and say what they think is right. But when it comes to the same issue, we do have to be careful. Yeah, we do have to be careful about the consequences.
Right.
Free speech is okay, but you don't have to insult someone. You have to be polite. There's no, I don't think there's not anything bad with the free speech as long as you are polite and you are going according to the law.
Well, but whose law? Like this recent incident happened in Paris, France, and they have, like many Western European countries, they have free speech. So that's why a magazine like this can exist. So there's no law against it. These folks who killed them, they killed the you know, these writers of these magazines. They killed them in the name of Islam. Now that's, you know, what they said and all of that. But what law would we be referring to?
Yeah,
Elizabeth, you want to say something?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, who's that? Is that Elizabeth?
No,
yeah, Elizabeth came on. Yeah, that's cool. We'll go to Elizabeth and then go to Bizo. So Elizabeth, yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I got cut off from the call. I just got back. I didn't know what you were talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, just listen in a little bit, and then you'll catch on pretty quick. So, Bizo, what were you going to say?
Yes, I was going to say that nowadays I think we live in a world where everything is open to other countries. So whatever you do is not going only to be in your area. It's going to be out.
Right.
So the law, yes, in Europe or in Western countries, there is freedom of speech. And this also, as Edison said, okay, it is okay for someone to go to the court and make some, he can complain and he can get something like fees. But this has been done before. Some have went to the court and they said that this satire is going too far. But in Europe, they said, to the court, they said, no, he had the freedom of speech. Yes, he had the freedom of speech according to Europe, but it is not a freedom of speech in other countries, like in Arab countries. Even at some point, those people who are inside the country themselves, they may be there, but they don't have open-minded. They are not agree to freedom of speech. Right. And so the law which is going to work here is a little bit more complicated. There is complication. because not everyone is going to follow the law, and not everyone understands the law. So yourself, the one who are going to put something, he must have to think twice. For example, I'm going to say, like, after this incident, which happened from this yesterday, before yesterday, or from Thursday, now the Danish has taken some decision that they're not going to publish more cartoons. So I think this is quite a good idea, and I think they wisely chosen the decision. Nice. They said that now we are going to stop, republishing. And as you may remember, this began from 2006, from Danish, from there in Denmark, where the first cartoons was published. But now they said, no, we're no longer going to republish again.
Okay, yeah, but okay, I didn't hear that, but it also may spark more people to publish this type of thing. What happened after Thursday, many French people walked out on the street and in support of free speech, and saying that we're not going to back down because some crazy people killed these people. We are coming out on the street. We're not hiding from you. And, we're not going to let terrorism succeed. So we'll have to see. It's an interesting point, Bizo, that you bring up. We'll have to see what happens, in the months to come and the years to come following this. Like, will people reduce the amount of satire of that? But the thing, like, when you think about these things, like I'm from America, and like, people make fun of like the president here, in other countries. People make fun of, I don't know, American things, companies, even, I've seen Christian type of religions being made fun of. People may be making fun of me in another country, but I may know about it, I may not know about it. I mean, the thing is, I don't know if we can stop the satire. And the thing is, the thing is the idea of killing over it, like, maybe it is offensive. And I do understand, Bizo, your point of view. And I know a lot of people agree with that. And if, like, let's say I was a very popular figure and people were like making fun of me a lot, and saying terrible things about me, I think that would bother me. I can't honestly say that would not bother me. But it's like, I could choose how to react to it. I guess I could hire some underground people to kill some people, or I could just say, hey, it's a world, we have different opinions, and just let it go and focus on my life. And when it comes down to it, again, it's like, my religion, if people, whatever my religion may be, whether I'm a Muslim, a Christian, a Buddhist, and there's many, many religions in this world, my religion is maybe precious to me, and I keep it. But if people make fun of it, if a tree falls in the forest and I'm not there, did it really make any sound? And I think, like Julio's point earlier, about, our view of God. What would God do? You know what I mean? Would God want me to kill these people? I don't think so. Would God want me to be angry and beat them up? I don't think so. Would God want me to yell at them and say bad things to them for doing that? I don't think so. I mean, most of our religions share a lot of aspects, and that is, oh, is this a picture? This is a picture. Oh, this is so funny. Wait, I just noticed it right now, and I'm like, what is that? And so this is a picture of Obama kissing somebody. Who is the man?
Hurting my eyes.
Who is he kissing, Julio?
Chavez.
Oh, Chavez. Oh God. It's like somebody photoshopped that
Oh my
picture.
goodness.
Julio put in the chat room a picture of Obama kissing on the lips Hugo Chavez. That's really funny. But you know what I mean? It's like, okay, so that's the president of my country. I see it. I mean, I really I don't take any offense to that. I know it's just a funny picture, and it's, you know, and somebody made that. It's obviously photoshopped. Yeah, it's Photoshop. I mean, he didn't really kiss him on the lips. But you know, and the thing is, you know, some humor like this, you know, is really easy to laugh at. And I'm glad that we're all enjoying it, because it's important for us to laugh. And some things are so funny. But, you know, if they get in the realm of offensiveness, it's better just to laugh at it and just to say, oh, who cares? You know, because I can still practice my religion, and I can still, you know, do things in my own way. Oh, this picture didn't come in. It's saying I have to download it or something. What is this one, Julio? Oh, wait. Oh, okay. Now it's there. So this is the Pope kissing. And who is he kissing?
Is
Oh my
Grand
goodness.
Sheikh in Egypt. This is the biggest, I guess, the representative of Islamic religion in Egypt. Ahmad Tayyib.
Oh, okay. So this is a Muslim cleric?
Yes, cleric is like a pope.
Oh, like a pope. And he's
yes.
he's kissing the Pope in this picture.
And that is nice. They love each other.
It's good at Photoshop.
Yeah. Well, these are all photoshopped, obviously, pictures and things. But there are people trying to make statements, and you know, the thing is, I don't know. I mean, maybe somebody else could chime in. I don't want to be the one just talking about this, but you know, this is the satire. This is the satire similar to the magazine where these people were killed. And our Skype friend, we need you to mute your microphone there because we're getting some background noise. I don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
You know, Dave,
Yes.
just a little comment. You know, I know from an experience that if you react with anger to criticism, then people will criticize you more. People will talk more at you, and what they're saying about you, it's probably right. You know, if they say, for example, okay, you have a big head. You know, people used to mock at me because when I was small, they say I had a big head.
Oh, you mean the actual size of your skull?
The actual size.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I used to get mad at that, and the more I get mad, the more people tease me. So I learned not to be mad at those remarks, and the teasing stopped. So when you're conscious of something, then people will be conscious of that too, and they will throw remarks at you, they will tease you, they will call you names and all of that.
Yeah, you know, and that's the point. Yeah, that first of all, I think it's a good point, and that's the point I was making to Bezo when I was saying earlier is that, you know, maybe this incident may spark more people to do satire because, you know, maybe several reasons. One is because they want freedom of speech to prevail, and like Bezos said, in certain countries there's different laws. There's not freedom of speech, and they don't maybe understand this the same. And now, Bezo, we live in this world of the internet, and all of this stuff is exchanged. Like if we went back 30 years ago, you know, maybe people in Muslim countries would not see this magazine, right? But now that we have the internet, they see it and they think, oh my God, we don't have this, you know, where I grew up, we don't have this in my country. This is so offensive. Oh, these people, because in my country, we think differently, you know, like maybe I'm from a very conservative or maybe just my family, conservative Muslim family. And then I see this and I get shocked. But just, you know, I mean, we live in a world. We don't live in just one country, and we got to get along. And that I do see the conflict, Bezo. I do see that because I could empathize with people maybe growing up in a very like conservative kind of Muslim, maybe even fanatical. I don't know fanatical, but you know, where they really take their religion seriously and it's sacred. And then they see this magazine making fun of like the Prophet Muhammad, something like that, and they just cannot comprehend how anybody could do that. And that's one of our challenges in this world, is to make bridges with each other and to say, hey, you know, there are many Muslims in France. There are many Muslims in America. What was it? There was a Danish magazine. They were making fun of Muhammad or something a number of years ago. I mean, it's not just, but they make fun of the Pope. They make fun of other religions too. You know what I mean? They're not just signaling out saying, hey, this person is doing something silly. You know, they're making fun of other religions. They're making fun of Judaism, you know, the Jewish religion. They're making fun of Christians. And, you know, I mean, in America, we make fun of Christians all the time. You know, we do. And
Dave, my question.
Yes, Elizabeth, go ahead.
Dave, my question is, why didn't go live wherever, you know, their God is not mocked, you know? If they come to live into a foreign country, they have to know that it'll be different ideologies. And sometimes the opinions of other, you know, cultures are not gonna get along with theirs. So you have to be open-minded if you go and live in another country, and you have to like think that country, they might not be the same thinking that you have, that there is people that were raised up in a different environment. Okay,
what do you guys think about that? A very interesting
true.
point. Yeah, Julio, go ahead.
Yeah, that is true. If you, for example, if I go to live to the States, I know I can be, I have to respect the traffic lights. I don't respect traffic lights in Venezuela. So if I go to the States, I make sure I'll stop at every red light I see, because somebody must be watching me. You know, I might get.
That's me. I'm going to be watching you.
So anybody, you know, if you go to Rome, do as Romans do.
Ah, yeah. You bring up I often bring up that phrase with my students, like, when in Rome, do as the Romans do.
When in Rome, yeah.
Right. So what does the group think about that? That seems to be what Elizabeth is saying and what Julio is saying. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with what she said.
Okay. What about some other folks?
Yes, I agree as well. That's my opinion.
Yeah, when in Rome. What about Bezo? I bet Bezo has a different opinion.
Yes, I really agree with her. I agree with her points, but we really need to look very far. Yes, like today we have entertainment on one hand, And on the other hand, you have extremists.
Yes.
So this entertainment can breed more extremists and can cost more lives. Is that what we really want? Or we want to have a stable and very entertaining global or even country? But what if this kind of entertainment is going to breed more violence? What do we have to do?
Okay, so you're saying, like, if this type of entertainment breeds more violence, what do we do? And the opposite side of that argument would be, if people are breeding violence, what are we going to do? Because are we always going to change the world to satisfy violent people?
Yes, I really agree, and of course everything is being done and everything is on table to see which one may be working or is going to have very positive consequences or positive results. I'm going to give you an example, like Terry John. The last time when he wanted to ban the books, it was really a freedom of speech. He had the right to do that.
Who is this? Can you tell us again?
Terry, the pastor Terry John, the pastor Terry John.
Terry John.
Yes, okay.
Maybe you could type it in.
Terry John.
Terry Jones. Okay. Gotcha.
Yes, he's the pastor who wanted to ban the Quran, the text of the books, and it is just like similar to these cartoons. He wanted
I
to
remember.
ban
Okay, yeah.
a bunch of books. Yeah.
Right.
I think this was just like 2011 or 2012, something like that. I don't remember exactly.
Was he the one who burned the Quran? Like, I remember some Christian minister like burned the Quran or something like that.
Yes, Terry John minister. Yeah, this is the one, the person.
Okay.
Yes. At that point, he has the right to do what he wants because of the freedom of speech. But when it came to security, the defense minister in the USA, they called him. They said that, look, you have the right to do that, but your action is going to create more chaos around the world. They tried to convince him that to leave and to stop burning, but he didn't. But later, of course, there was some violence. Some people got killed, and even some embassies, not exactly embassies, not related, something else, but really like more than 100 people died after that action. So now it's not only about entertainment, it's also the matter of security. Yes, we are going to say to fight, we are fighting all the violence and the extremism, but which way is the right way to do that?
Right. Okay, so true. So he said, so Bezo is saying like this Terry Jones, he was burning the Quran and then people were killed because of this. So should we stop the freedom of speech, or should we stop the people who are killing? and the hard part about that question is, it's how do you stop the people are killing? Because they do it secretly. You know what I mean? I mean, they just
yes.
How do you stop that?
I do understand what you mean, and it is really very clear. I may say that yes, reasonably, or what comes naturally. First, you have to stop those people who are killing, because killing is more violent than banning book. Because if you ban book, no problem, the other book and is going to be written.
Sure.
But if you kill someone,
Dave.
If you kill someone, that's very serious, and that's the end of
Yes,
their life.
that's very serious.
Right.
So here you are doing something. Here we say that something like a provocation. You provoke by joking, and that joke is going to make someone angry, and even is going to cost you a life.
Right.
Yes, it is your right to joke, but okay, well, you can stop that person. It is okay, first of all, to stop that person. But after he has killed more people, it is very difficult to stop him. It is tragic. So we have to make balance. We have to joke, yes. We have to do what we want, yes. But we don't have to put ourselves in danger to cause those people to be provoked. What I'm saying here is don't provoke for no reason.
Okay, Elizabeth.
Yeah, Dave, you were saying, how can we stop people from killing? You know, if we're talking about Muslim religion, Islamic religion, these people is killing in the name of Allah, their God. So if we want to stop them, the religion must be stopped, I would think.
Well, that would be a very drastic thing, and I think a lot of people would say that's impossible.
It is because whenever, if we're talking about this, every act of terrorism, you know, they give glory to Allah, and they are doing it because they're killing people because they are considered infidels because they don't worship Allah. So all of us are, well, the people that don't believe in Allah, that don't worship Allah, we all are infidels to them. So in their sight, we must be killed. So how can you cohabitate? How can you live with these people? Either they will kill you, or they have to stop at some point. You have to raise your voice and do something about it. You know, if you make fun of Jesus, of God, Catholic people, Christian people, they can get upset. They can get mad at you. They can come in front of your business and try to do a boycott, but they're not gonna kill you because you made fun of them.
Yeah. Okay. So you raised
radical Islam is really dangerous. That's
Hello?
my opinion. Sorry, I'm very passionate about it.
And many people are passionate about it, so we appreciate that. Yes, who's that? Augustine?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. I think the more violence is not the answer, because you can kill bad people. It's not the answer, but right now I think is something that you should do. For example, I live in Mexico.
Okay.
Here in Mexico, there's not Muslims. Who do you say? Muslims. But there are a lot of terrorism. They won't stop for any reason. So
So you're saying, like, in Mexico, there's not many Muslims, but there is terrorism.
Yeah, it's a lot of violence every day.
Right.
And a lot of kills. I think the answer is maybe it will sound pretty bad, but you have to kill that people, because the government is not helping us. They can put in jail, but after a few months they are free again, and they are still killing people. And it's not the answer, but we are in danger. So as Elizabeth said before, either kill you or either they will kill us.
Okay, well, okay, so yeah, now we're kind of branching out into terrorism, and I understand what you're saying, Augustine. Kill them or they'll kill us. But if we went to Muslims and most Muslims around the world would say that these people who killed those journalists are not Muslim, because in the Muslim religion, there is nowhere that it says to kill. And these are radical Muslims, perhaps, fanatics, this sort of things. And maybe, you know, if we look at moderate Muslims or the majority of Muslims in this world, they would say, hey, they do not support killing, and there's nowhere in the Quran where it says to kill. So these people, in effect, are not Muslims. They're just crazy killers who are killing, and then they're putting this name to it in the name of Allah. So it seems that you know, in most of the world, we have moderate Muslims who are not interested in this, just like Christians and other religions don't, you know, just kill people because they were made fun of or something like that. And like Elizabeth was saying, they may protest, but they usually protest in a peaceful way. They could boycott something, they could protest, but they don't take it to the killing area. And I think in Augustine's case, you know, where we're taking terrorism, you know, a different form of terrorism, it would be nice if they could lock those people up in jails and keep them in jail for life. And they could secure those jails, because I know there's jail security too. Like in America, just a quick note, you know, we have, you know, problems with underground mobs doing illegal activity and killing people. And not that we've got them all, but, you know, we have put some of those mobsters in jail for life, and they will die in jail. So that's helped, certainly. But getting back, this is more of a free speech issue. Yeah, Bizo.
Yes, I may say something and trying to answer Elizabeth for what she just said. This is a matter of understanding. It is not a matter of religion. And even I can just quote what the president of François Hollande, the president of France just said yesterday. He said, these fanatics have nothing to do with the Muslim religion. So in this case, I guess that you have to understand and to make the difference between the minority who do things which is contrary to their religion. It is not religion which tells them, yes, they may say that we're killing in the name of Allah, but this is according to the misinterpretation of some verses, or to the some ideology, or to the some bad idea which they have. But it is not a religion which tells them to do that. I can compare them to the people who are like the gang or the mob, as they just said, Mr. Dev, or the people who do bad things like drug dealers. Mm-hmm. They do bad things, but they are not. We are not going to say the whole society is doing the same.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And just like, you know, there have been Christians in America who have murdered in the name of Jesus. And that is a misinterpretation. Jesus would not, I mean, in terms of what I know of Christianity, and I think I'm right here, I think I would get support, is Jesus would not support any murders whatsoever. And there have been Christians who have killed in the name of Jesus, just like, and they're a very small minority, just like these Muslims. So it's not exclusive to Islam. It happens in other religions too. Just like I think some Jews have killed, you know, and the Jews, you know, they don't. Their religion does not advocate killing other religious people. You know, it's just not in the books. But one final point I'd like to discuss before we wrap up. I think it was Elizabeth who brought this up. Like, for example, in France, there are minority people who I apparently who have moved to France from other countries, and they live there. I'm not sure legally or illegally. Maybe it doesn't even matter. But they chose to immigrate from their home country to another country. So let's use France as an example. That's one of many countries, right? And the Muslims in France apparently are about maybe 10% of the population, something like that. But I did hear some dialogue, some rhetoric, some debate about, well, a lot of those Muslims in France feel disenfranchised. They feel discriminated against. And there was one example given. A man called to make a hotel reservation. And the hotel manager said, no, we are full. Sorry, we cannot rent you a hotel room. The hotel was not full. He just said that because he could tell by the man's accent that he was some maybe Arabic background. So what I'm bringing about is this idea that there is some discrimination that some of these Muslim people feel, perhaps living in France. And, you know, and I've heard dialogue of French people saying, oh, we don't like these people coming to our country. They take our resources, like maybe they get state resources, you know, like medical and other things, and whatever, I don't know, housing, I'm not sure what, but and so they're angry that people have come to their country, and then on the other side, some of these people are saying, oh, that we can't get jobs here, we're not treated as equal citizens, and things like this, and this has brought into this argument into France and Paris, and killing these people, as to some of these people, and we'll just say they're Muslim, feel marginalized in Paris, in France, and what is your opinion about that?
Hello?
Yes, Augustine.
Oh, I think that it's not our fault. I'm not against Muslims, but I think it's due the idea television give us. Unfortunately, the TV, the news, they give us a bad image about Muslims. I don't know if is the fault of the TV. I say I'm not against Muslims, but many times are bad things about Muslims. So I don't know. I feel a little bit afraid with a Muslim.
Right. Well, we could, you know, I would tend to agree with you, Augustine, because the news media tends to glorify when these incidents happen. So we get a lot of news coverage when there's a Muslim terrorist attack. So what people around the world tend to hear is Muslims terrorism. So unfortunately, yeah, that's what the news media tends to do, and you're right, that does influence people's opinions about Muslims. So yeah, I understand that. What I'm also bringing up is the idea of you know, maybe some of these Muslims, they immigrate to another country and then they get angry because maybe they're poor and they're not getting jobs and they feel discriminated against. So they go out and they kill people. Is there any opinion about that?
I would like to say,
Yeah,
opinion
Miguel,
from,
go ahead.
for example, it's not talking about Muslim. I'm not very familiarized with the religion, but I think that not all of them are bad, and I don't even consider they are bad. Perhaps they are doing something good because of they believe in Allah, or I don't know what is their God, but they are not conscious that they are doing something bad because of Allah told them to do it. So I'm not sure about that, but I think we all need an opportunity. But in my case, if you tell me to give an opportunity to come to my house and to be familiarized with them, I'm going to be scared about it. But I think, I know, it's just my opinion about it. I don't know.
Yeah, understandable. Like if a fanatic was there or something like that happened. The thing is, what the debate brought into this was just the fact of discrimination, and that this idea that they came, some of these folks immigrated from another country, and they're like we were talking before, like when in Rome, do as Romans do. Well, we also have a term called acculturate, kind of to blend into society, to adapt to the society. And maybe a lot of these folks do not do that. They come to the different country, but they keep their ways. And, from their dress, like a lot of Muslims, wear different types of clothing and the headscarves and these sorts of things. So that really stands out. And they don't necessarily acculturate into France, French society, or whatever country they're emigrating to. So the people that live there get bothered by that, because it's kind of like they're coming to the country, but then they're saying, no, we don't want to live by your rules. We want to live by our rules. And I'm wondering what the opinion is about that, because France has their own culture. So they love their culture, and they maybe are not so comfortable with people trying to change that. Elizabeth.
Well, I would go to what I said. They need to go back to their country to live the way that they want to live, and kill each other if there's some infidels among them.
So I agree about staying in their country but not killing each other.
Well, no, I'm being how would you say, sarcastic.
You're being sarcastic. Yeah, I think she's being sarcastic.
Yeah, because,
right. That's a sense of
they say, I just some quotes from the Quran.
Okay.
Which said that if you don't believe in Allah, the people that don't believe in Allah, which is most of the Western world, should be killed. So I was saying that in a sarcastic way, that if they find somebody in their country, they should be killing each other, but under their rules, under their territory. But don't come to another territory and try to impose your religion, your beliefs.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Yeah.
You are not respecting others, idiosyncrasy. Is that correct?
If I may say something.
Okay, let's start with Bizo, then we'll go
sure
to.
if the word is correct.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Let's go to Bizo, then Lola. So hold on, Lola. One second.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I just start to in the conversation, but I think, for example, the French people start the war in Iraq. It's not the other people comes to France to not accept the law. For me, there is another thing, that is that France, Spain, England make the war to Iraq years ago, and probably these people are angry with us for the reason. for the war, probably.
Where are you from, Lola?
I'm from Spain.
Oh, from Spain. Okay, so you're talking about like the war in Iraq. Is that what?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're saying like maybe this is retribution for that, and they're angry about that.
Yes, a revenge, because, for example, in Spain, they put a bomb.
Yeah, bomb on the train.
In Spain, in the train, in England too, and French, for example. I don't know very well the things, but I hear to the people in Spain saying that, for example, French and Spanish kill 200,000 people, Iraqi people, and between them there was a lot of children. I think 50,000 children. And now we are terrified because they kill 12 people or 15 people, but Europeans or for Americans too kill a lot of Iraq people, and you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets complicated. You're right about that. You know, and we live in a different world, because then they come in with guerrilla warfare and like blow up a train or something like that, or 9/11 with the buildings and this sort of thing. But just want to get back to this idea, though, more specifically to the you know, to the immigrants, and like Elizabeth was saying, like they should go back to their country, and Bizo was going to comment on that. Go ahead, Bizo.
Yes. What I was going to say is, for example, the verses which was put the chart. Yeah, you have to be careful when trying to interpret some verses, because you may translate according to your own understanding, not to the real intention of why the verses at the first hand was given. So we need to really read and not take some small verses, because this we can, if you are going to do that, we're going to make some chaos. So to understand some verses, you need to be careful. If I say some people are very, I might say that even among those dead, they are Muslims. Even they say that those fanatics or the extremists who pretend or claim to be Muslim, they kill more Muslims. They don't, even sometimes they don't select, they kill. For example, among those dead, the police who dead was Ahmad. He was Muslim,
Right.
and was trying to protect the cartoons.
Right, right.
So
yeah, he was Muslim.
So this
right.
was a Muslim was a Muslim, and he was soldier, and he was police. He was police.
Police.
Who tried to protect, and he died to protect him.
Right.
So it is a matter of understanding, not a matter of religion. It is a matter of extremism. A small minority. Not all Muslims in France are doing that. Yes, they are. There are some.
There are some, yeah.
But not all.
Not all. And Bizo brings up an important point.
There's a saying.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Sorry. There's a saying that not all Muslims are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims.
Except for Mexico.
I think for example, the Taliban, that is the people more fanatic that you are saying, certainly the USA put this government in Iraq, because before, I think they were more like liberal is the word, but I think I read about the topic a little bit, and I know that, for example, in Afghanistan, you can find, for example, the rights of the women were very advanced. But then when United States and Europe put their nose in these countries, start the problems. I think so. It's the information that I read in Spain, and I think There is a very famous American director who talks about these topics. I don't remember the name, you know, Fahrenheit and...
No, I don't recall the name of the director. I mean, the thing is, we're in an age of mixing now. You know, like if we look into more recent history, when we fought as countries and like World War II. There was the Korean War, things like that. And now it's a different kind of, we're fighting with each other. We're mixing more because, of these things. And the terrorism exists in many organizations. I mean, you could look at the IRA, that was serious terrorism that happened in Ireland and England. And Augustine was just talking about all the terrorism that happens in Mexico. So it's not true that
different.
Yeah, it's not true that all terrorists are Muslim, but we hear about we do we do hear about the Muslims more.
That's to say it. I just repeat it.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I'm not saying that you're saying that, but yeah. And it's certainly as a worldwide phenomenon that it tends to lean in that direction. But Biza, I just want to ask you, what about the comment, like, should these people who emigrated to these countries, like, for instance, conservative Muslims who emigrated to Western countries where there's free speech, they're more of a liberal type of culture, should they move back to their own countries?
This is a matter of choice for those, because some are citizens are no longer immigrant. Yes, they call it their immigration. They may say like African American, they say like Arab or French, but this is a matter of choice. If some of those they are not satisfied by their culture, it's okay for them to go back to where they see that they are more satisfied and where they think that they should practice their religion. I agree with this 100%. And for those who are out of the law, yes, it is up to the law to do what they think is right.
Now let me ask you this. If they come, let's say, very conservative Muslim folks come to France and they don't dress like French people, they don't acculturate, they basically live their lives and they start building a community that is just like it is in their home country, is that okay?
Yes, I guess here every country has its own law, and it has where people are doing things which is against the law. Yes, they have to do what they have to do. So if they came, for example, they said Muslims come, they are conservatives, and they are practicing their religion there, and they're making like their own home. If it is not against the country's law, it is okay. That's why they leave them there. They live to what they do because they think that it's not going to harm the country. But I do really agree that, and everyone would agree with me, if those people are doing things which is against the law.
Well, that's not the issue, though.
No,
absolutely, if it's against the law, but this is the rhetoric I've heard in France, is that the population is growing. They're not doing anything against the law except if they kill people, but they don't acculturate. So they don't participate in terms of French culture. They keep their own culture and they keep bringing more and more people. So maybe they started out as 2%, then they grew to 5%, now they're at 10%. And the French people say, look, they're not participating, they dress different, they act different, they eat different foods. It's as if they're bringing their country to our country. And it is not against the law, but they don't like it. That is what a lot of French people are saying.
Yes, I really understand what you mean. And And of course, it was just yesterday, I saw the same, it was same segment, but in a different version, which they say that those people who immigrate to France, they are very different from the people who immigrate to United States. For example, and he was really, I guess he was the interior minister, who said that, you know, in your own country, many people are going to adopt. They feel like Americans right away. So they try to integrate. But when here in France, we have this problem. People who came here to France, they are not going to adopt our culture very easily, different from American culture. So here it is very difficult, you see. As they say that he was talking about those who doing this somehow they are very young, and some are very they are ordinary people who become very extremism. But how can we try to make them feel that they feel home? What France can do, different from what even American do? What is there? Instead, because it is very difficult for us to kill all of them. As Elizabeth said, that we can, it is possible to go back to their own country, or if it's possible, they can get jailed, all of them. But the Interior Ministry said that it is impossible. So what can we do differently?
Yeah, good point. Good point. And maybe the French can reach out to them and start some programs to reach out to them and to connect with them. And it's also, I guess, France's choice to, you know, like any country, you know, can choose who they let into their country. You know, like some countries are more open to others, and that government can decide, oh, are we going to allow immigrants come in? You know, it's really, I guess, up to them how they deal with that. And you're right, Bizo. Yeah, it's different than immigrating to a different country like England or Spain or America, where the culture is different. So good point. You know,
yes, adding something else here. He was talking. Yes, he was talking about those people who are extremists. They say that some of them, they are not well educated. There are those people who live sometimes outside.
Lola, please turn off your microphone.
Yes, there are those people who have no who have no jobs. They are not. They were saying they're not well integrated. They are not well educated. Some they say that's one of the reasons. What can we do instead of just going to bomb them? What can we do in terms of education?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that you're right. I mean, that's what it often comes.
I don't want to educate the people who are using guns to kill my people. I'm sorry.
Well, I think what he's saying is if they were educated previously, they would not be picking up the guns.
Maybe.
Yes.
And
but the fact is that regardless of a person's education, there are laws in every country that you live in. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what the culture is. Every country has laws. If you don't understand how to follow the laws of your government, then that is not a cultural problem or a problem of lack of education.
And what is specifically that you're referring to?
Deliberately breaking the laws and trying to cause anarchy.
Right, but absolutely. And the point that Bizo is making is oftentimes the fanatics or the people that they get to do, for example, a suicide bomb, oftentimes the demographic of these individuals are poor and uneducated.
That's correct.
So,
and Dave, I myself am poor and uneducated. So does that mean that I'm going to be a suicide bomber? Because I don't think that that is necessarily a reason for people to destroy others.
Oh,
I
absolutely
think that
not.
people who
Absolutely
destroy
not.
others, I don't think that's based on education. I think there are personality differences in
Well,
the types of people who are capable of mass murder as opposed to those who are not.
Sure, sure. It's a complicated issue. Yeah, Bizo?
Yes, well, I'm going to say that it is one issue which really needs to be approached from different angles. Yes, we may say that education, it may be one reason, and there are more and more contributors. So we're not going to look only on one side.
Right, right. So it's not just a black and white issue. It's more complicated. And yeah, and I think what Bizo's saying is like this is a contributing factor when they've gone back to analyze the demographics of these folks, meaning that they're more easily influenced. And the more educated people who have jobs, and if you approached that demographic, those people are more likely to say, nah, I don't want to do a suicide bombing. But if you approach somebody
have they
who's
proven causation in these studies or just the parallels, the correlations? Because if you look at the Boston bombings, those boys were decently educated. There was nothing.
Yeah. No. We're not saying 100%. Like I say it's not a black and white. These are just contributing factors. They're not always this
Do we
case.
know specifically about the terrorists that committed these atrocities in Paris? Do we know if they had an education and what country they were educated in?
Right. So again, we're not saying 100%. What we're saying is this is a contributing factor, and that.
But when you use the phrase contributing factor, that's why I asked about causation. I mean, have they determined causation, or are they just saying that it is that the statistics show that there is a correlation?
Yes, statistics show that there's a correlation. Absolutely.
What is meant the correlation? Sorry.
Correlation just means it's attached to it. So if you go back.
Correlation. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. I get it.
Right. So,
for instance, overweight people have more fat on their bodies. But that doesn't mean that the fat content in their bodies made them fat or overweight.
Yeah, it is cause and effect, which yes, even the most experts are trying to know the cause. That's why even it is difficult to get to have the solution.
Yeah, right.
Because it is not one thing. If it could be one thing, this problem could have been solved from a long time, but it is not one thing.
Absolutely. It's a complicated thing, and it's a complicated obstacle that we are facing in our world and that we need to hammer out and fix some way. And there's certainly no easy answer for it.
Yes, I guess Elizabeth was going to say something.
Oh, okay. Elizabeth, were you going to say something? She may not, or her microphone might be off. But anyway, to wrap up, I just want to hit on some things. Bizo, I was taking some notes earlier. The word court, just to get some more of that R sound in there. Court. Bizo, court. Yeah, you were talking about court.
Court.
Yeah, and burning. We're talking about like burning books or the Quran. Burning.
Yes, burning books. Yeah.
Because at first I thought you were saying banning, and I'm like banning.
Burning.
Yeah, burning. Yeah. Then I got what you were saying. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Okay, we got a new picture here of Obama, the anti-mid, bring the Midas of Shyamalan. I'm not sure what that is. What is that picture, Julio? What is that supposed to be?
Okay, this is the story about a king. It's a myth. This king has the power to turn everything that he touched into gold.
Okay. So what does this satire mean?
So they say Obama has that touch is the anti-Midas.
Anti-Midas touch.
Yeah, whatever he touches, he turns it into crap.
He turns it into crap. I see. Okay. I see, the anti-Midas. Okay, yeah. So yeah. Anyway, really good debate today. Really good discussion.
Do we have any conclusion?
Well, you know, I mean, if there is a conclusion, I think that tolerance is a big part of this, and that I think one thing that we all agree on is that when there is disagreement about anything in this world, that killing is not the answer. And I think we all agree on that, and that's quite a nice conclusion, and that's something you know, that maybe if it's spread more, you know, maybe you should, if these folks could just have a debate about it, like, you know, like Bizo was saying earlier, you know, and Elizabeth brought in some quotes from the Quran, but, you know, it depends on the translation of those quotes, and, you know, is that authentic material? Just like, you know, like I hear people where I live in the West talk about the Bible, and they talk about, you know, this, you know, the interpretation of what this means. And there are some Christian religions here in West that say, oh, the Bible says blah, blah, blah. You know, the Bible says this. And then other Christians say, no, that's not what the Bible means. So they don't agree with those Christian religions, you know? So there is much debate on religious text, and you can go, you know, and then when you get deep into it, you go to scholars who, you know, will, you know, go to the original, whatever they consider the original language it was written in, and so they're scholars in this language and in this, perhaps in this time, and then there's even debates further in that, because they'll say, well, when so and so wrote this, it doesn't make any sense. So the texts themselves, I mean, it is a very complicated issue. So when we have a somebody saying, hey, this is from the Quran or this is from the Bible, right there you have to say that this is complicated, because you know, does it? Most Muslims I've heard say that it does not, you know, there is no talk of killing in the Quran. You know, there is no support for killing other people. So when you bring something in that says, you know, like slaughter anybody who says anything against Allah, it seems like that text is debatable at the very least.
Just adding something a little.
Sure.
Yes, even though we are talking about text and the people misinterpret, they misquote right. Some. Also, this comes even to the country's legislation, because whenever each text has, for example, is used by words, and each word may use by synonyms. So some people may interpret those synonyms according to their own desire. For example, even the law, we can say like the law according to the gun control. Some people have a different view. They say that this law is somehow is going too far. This law must be modified. The same thing in the text on Quran religion.
Right. Yeah. And these are the challenge. You know, if we can take a step back and just say, hey, we're all human beings on this planet, and we have a lot of challenges. It's not easy living on this planet, no matter what country you're in, what situation you're in, and you know, the laws that we create are being, you know, interpreted in certain ways to further certain desires. And that same idea, like Bizo's pointing out, relates to the texts of these religious documents or whatnot. And, you know, they are constantly being debated over. But, you know, at the very least, when I hear the moderates of all these different religions, I never hear the moral, the majority of these religions say that killing is in our texts, and that includes the Islam and Christianity and these other major religions of the world. They just, it's just not part of it. So, to conclude, it seems that we agree on, killing is wrong, and
Yes.
people kill for many
Dave,
different
one
reasons.
last thing.
Okay, Elizabeth, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. You were saying about the quotes of the Quran, and I think you're right. We don't know first of all, I don't know the original language, and as this gentleman was saying, amen. There's gotta be interpretation on that, and certainly that's not my subject. But what about those videos that we can see people, Muslim leaders, we can see it in the internet, calling, to persecute and to kill all Americans and to kill all Christians? What about that? Probably, I don't need an answer right now, but this could be for our next meeting. But we have to consider all these people that are in political position, and they identify themselves as Muslims, Islam doers, and they are calling to their people to rise up against the Western
Right.
culture and so on.
Yes, and I think
That's
we right, and I think we would say those are the fanatics, those are the extremists, just like God, now I'm forgetting his name, Osama bin Laden, and obviously he influenced a lot of people, and with his politically in his
We can
organization.
say Hitler.
Pardon me? I think you're
Hitler.
How
Hitler.
many people
Yeah,
died?
yeah, Hitler. Yeah, there you go. There's another great example.
We
He-
could say Hitler and how many
Yes,
people died.
absolutely. And
So we gotta be careful about fanatics.
yes. Oh, sure. And as we look back, it's like a lot of the German people supported Hitler, but of course now we look back, and the Germans are feel bad and they know that was a wrong thing to do, and we know Hitler was bad and wrong and all this sort of thing. So yeah, those are the fanatics, and they support killing and anything having to do with killing, at least within what we're talking about today and in our group. That is wrong, and we shouldn't be using that as a way. It'd be nice if those fanatics could get on Skype and have a debate right here, and at
Yeah,
least.
but if we go back to the topic of tolerance, how can you tolerate these fanatics?
Well, that's part. Yeah. Well, how can you tolerate them? You don't. I mean, it's not about tolerance to people who kill. Yeah, and that's a difficult point. Yes, and that's why we fight. It's like, oh, he killed my family. Well, I'll just tolerate that. Sure. Yes.
And that's what's going on. We are
Yes.
tolerating too much, I think.
Okay, well, wow, we certainly live in a world with many difficult situations, and we
Yes.
need to use our brains to rise above it, and to connect. I really think connection can be one pathway to solving it, and if we connect more with each other, as we would as family members, as opposed to the differences, maybe we will get along, and we're going to look back. Hopefully we'll look back at this as a dark time of just saying, these silly humans were killing each other, And at this time in the future, we get along and we look at each other as one instead of all these separate people who are, some are good, some are bad, you know. But you know, we're on this planet. I don't know why. I don't know why I was born into this world, and maybe this is one of my challenges, or one of our challenges, is to figure out how to deal with this in a positive way. And it's not an easy thing, but maybe we just, you know, we need to think about that. We were put on this planet with lots of problems, and we need to deal with it in a positive way. And how are we going to solve this puzzle? And we need to figure that out and try to solve it. And so I'm going to end it on that note. Thank you all so much for your participation. It was an excellent debate, and I really appreciate the different opinions. And it was so much fun to hear all of this and to have a healthy debate and discussion about this. And we got some English training in there as well. So absolutely excellent call today. Please join me next Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific time on Google Hangouts. That's English Meeting with Dave Skonda. And on Skype, my Skype ID is David88411, and you can connect with me on Facebook to see the announcements. So everybody, please unmute your microphone and say goodbye to everybody in your own native language.
Bye,
So,
thank you.
all right, bye. Adios. Zaijian. Do svidanya. I'll see you all later. All right, cool. Take care, everyone. I'll see you next time.
You too, bye.
All right, bye-bye.